Celebrating the 100th anniversary of Christian Dior's birth, the Dior Haute Couture Fall 2005 collection took viewers on an oniric journey to Granville, Dior's childhood home in Normandy. By recreating the villa's famous Belle Epoque gardens, albeit in a ruined, mysterious and misty way reminiscent of classic horror movies, the designer presented a collection divided into 10 different acts, each of which unfolds to its own soundtrack. A black-clad horse-drawn carriage entered the gates of a ruined Edwardian garden, where cobwebs clung to broken statues, fallen chandeliers and lily-of-the-valley bushes. And here came the ghost of Madame Dior, arriving with her little boy Christian in a sailor suit, whose birthday was celebrated 100 years ago. This season I was inspired by the presentation of Mr. Dior's work, in particular the fashion illustrations Christian Bernard, Cecil Beaton and the photographs of Lillian Bassman, said John Galliano. On a recent trip to Peru, I was also struck by the remarkable similarity between the famous silhouette of Dior's new look and traditional Peruvian clothing. The designer sought to reveal all the layers in the construction of the haute couture garments, starting with the creation of a nude corset, reconstructing the bust and hips into an exaggerated silhouette, based on an illustration by René Gruau. Covering the corset with a layer of flesh-colored fabric created the perfect base for the illustration, the designer explained. Now the work of the atelier can be revealed through the use of transparent tulle, and the technique of les petits mains, which is usually hidden, is revealed in all its splendor. Galliano said he was inspired by the way Dior's creations were reflected in the work of Irving, Penn, Cecil Beaton, and René Gruau. Images of Princess Margaret, Margot Fontaine, Zizi Jean Meyer and Wallis Simpson swirled in his merry dance. After a stint in Peruvian outfits, a visit to Hollywood led to old-time supermodel outfits majestically parodying Hayworth, Dietrich, de Havilland and Bacall. All in all, pure fashion entertainment. Only a few missteps towards screaming color combinations were a timely reminder of Galliano's capacity for the subtle and poetic, as well as a confirmation of the incredible foundations of the House of Dior. Transparency was the watchword. Virtually everything from Edwardian dresses with tassels and ruffles to semi-sheer dresses with dropped waists and skirts was transparent, or gave the impression that it was. In most cases, it lent a lightness and delightfulness to styles that in their original fabrics would seem unimaginably heavy today. Even Dior's signature tweed suits were reincarnated in sheer organza, with a scattering of plaid patterns, embroidered with white beads. But what were the main acts of this art performance from Galliano? First up was Dior's mother. Young Dior observes the strict formality of Edwardian costume. The opening ensemble, an embroidered tulle dress worn by Erin O'Connor, was named Madeleine, in honor of the couturier's mother, followed by Jacqueline and Jeanette, named after Dior's sisters. The next section, creativity, making a dress, is described as draping, cut and pins, with Dior constructing 4 dresses based on his favorite models, and also includes deconstructed creations, named after Dior's favorite models, such as Victoire. The directresses. Corot, the new look, opposite shows Carmen and a succession of Peruvian-inspired Corolla dresses embroidered with colorful ruffles, and Hollywood, the sirens of the silver screen were the supermodels of their time, including Vivian, played by Eva Hertzigova, followed by clientele and debutantes. The finale featured quirky moments titled Degas. Margot Fontaine entertains Christian Dior, Cocteau and Christian Berard with Peruvian ballet, a series of straw-embroidered tulle dresses with ballet shoes, Catherinettes, a nod to the Haute Couture world's long-standing tradition of unmarried seamstresses dressing up and wearing fancy yellow and green hats on St. Catherine's Day, and finally, a masquerade ball inspired by the Peruvian religious colonial paintings of the Cusco school. John Galliano thus seized the opportunity to revisit the rich and romantic history of the house, which he inherited and reinterpreted for the 21st century. And for once, his imaginator did not drive his horse and carriage down difficult roads or wildly irreverent cul-de-sacs. On the contrary, the collection was transparently constructed as an homage to Dior's couture, from the influence of his mother's fin de siècle dresses to the creation of new look, with roles for the workers, fashion editors and extraordinary clients, who flocked to him in the 50s. But that is another story we will talk about later.